Robots is the most horrifying movie ever marketed to children. The universe is terrifying and makes no goddamn sense. The movie begins with the protagonist's birth, except he's not born because he's a robot. Apparently when someone wants to make a baby, they can just order it on Amazon and assemble it themselves. Before we're even 1 whole minute into the movie, we have no idea how we got here. So putting aside the biggest question of who made the robots for a bit, why would people be allowed or encouraged to assemble new people? Do you really trust complete strangers, average people, to assemble a baby? Rodney is established to be some kind of tinkerer or mechanic, but it's presented as a novelty, not something everybody can do, so it's not like everyone is 100% knowledgeable on robot anatomy. I rarely trust people to properly assemble a shelf, so why don't babies just come from a factory? Or they could have a Build-A-Bear setup where you can pick out the parts or colors they want, but someone who actually knows what they're doing oversees the process so it's idiot-proof. How many companies make parts to make babies? Does it come from the government? Can you pay for a top-notch baby? Did Rodney's parents buy him as a cheap baby? Was he doomed from his manufacturing to be poor? When you order a baby, do you have to go through some sort of social services, with adoption, where someone comes to your house to make sure the baby will be going with someone safe, or can you just order babies willy-nilly? Could someone get drunk and order 50 babies if they wanted to? Can babies be returned? Yeah, I get it, they wanted to make a making a baby joke, but what if it wasn't two normal people making Rodney? What if it was Bender? Would you trust this robot to make another robot? And while we're on the subject, Rodney's parents do screw up. In one of the worst scenes of any movie I've ever seen, Rodney's parents realize they didn't attach Rodney's penis, which we never see, so his dad hammers it onto him. Why? Why do robots who don't need to have sex need genitals at all? Seriously, why does he need that? Is it some kind of USB drive that forces him to identify as a boy? Why would he need that? Why would it be on his crotch? If his parents wanted a girl, would they have to hammer a vagina onto him? Is Rodney technically intersex because he was turned on with no genitals? Are there trans robots? Or is it just random and a robot can change sex at will? If Rodney wanted to, could he perform his own sex change operation if all he had to do was take off or add a few things that he wouldn't even be using or affect his functionality as a robot at all? Wait, no, swapping parts doesn't do anything, because at one point Rodney has to wear boobs, and Bender wears a skirt. That didn't change anything, it just sort of happened. So what in the sweet holy hell did the dad attach that could possibly change anything? So when Rodney is born, his parents literally just flip a switch. Again, why would you trust the general population with this power? Can you imagine some drunk hick assembling a baby and just turning the switch on and off until the baby breaks? If babies have to be assembled, it should be done by, I don't know, a doctor or someone with tools who can activate people in a hard-to-reach place on the inside. So in this movie, it's established that there's a clear hierarchy of people, robots, robot people, based on wealth. Rodney has to wear hand-me-down parts from his cousin, and they don't fit at all. So he looks exactly the same, except he's lugging some spare metal around that's not even touching his body. He might as well just stay the same size until he can afford better suited parts, or until a different cousin closer to his size sends him their hand-me-downs. I mean, is it mandated by law that you have to change parts every few years until you're an adult? Some robots change as an adult. Is someone making them do that? What if someone was super poor, so they saved up their whole life living in a kid-sized body until they could get what they needed? I mean, we see Rodney grow up and learning, so it's not like he can only mature and learn as he gets taller. Plus, with so many shapes and sizes of robots, including this adult robot who looks to be less than a foot tall, you'd think upgrading would be optional. This kind of plays into the whole outmoded thing in the movie. Certain parts are discontinued, certain materials are considered higher in stature than others, and you can detach parts of your body at will. If your body parts are discontinued, why not just shove your robot brain into a new body? Think of how cheap a tiny body like this could be. I'm surprised class isn't determined by height. So this lady is supposed to be a fat lady who farts. Why? And how can robots fart? Do they run on fossil fuels? Okay, so there is oil, but I guess we also see them eating and pooping? At one point she says she used to be thin. Then why does she look like this? Why not just unhitch the trailer or just stick your robot brain into a different... Why do girl robots have boobs? You're not feeding a baby with those. Humans have an organ black market. Do robots have a part black market? Is there an underground network selling super intelligent brains? Or giant robot penises that they never use or show to anybody? And at one point this guy misgenders this lady and the joke is oh haha, she's ugly, but who even cares what she looks like or what her gender is? Why do robots need gender? Also, okay, who built the robots? Is this Cars rules where we're just supposed to accept it? I'm actually fine with cars because at least they don't have genitals. So going with the logic that there can't be a watch without a watchmaker, I'm forced to think that either A, there is a robot god, or B, they were made by humans or a species similar to humans in that they would project their obsession with genitals and sexuality onto robots. If there was a robot god who created the robot universe, does that mean that's why dogs are also machines and the grass and flowers are made of metal? And since everybody is made of metal, does that mean that any given moment Rodney and co could have transferred their robot brains into the bodies of flowers and, like, killed all the bad guys in the form of plants? If Robot God created the robots, where did the robots evolve from? Humans came from, like, bacteria and then, like, a fish and then all this other shit. So, like, did Robot God make robot bacteria that turned into, like, pool cleaners, which evolved into, like, that creepy thing from Boston Dynamics and so on? Was there a Robot Jesus? Was Robot Jesus tortured and, like, disassembled in ancient torture methods for robot sins? How were babies formed in ancient times or any time before the Industrial Age? Were they welded at ye olde smithery? What did they eat or drink back then if fossil fuels hadn't been discovered yet? Also, what would the fossil fuels be made out of? Were there robot dinosaurs? Were the robot dinosaurs wiped out by a robot meteor? You know, because everything in this universe is made of metal and nothing seems to be made out of materials needed to make metal? What does the periodic table of elements in this universe look like? Is it just like chrome and iron? What is the sun made out of? Now, the second possibility is somebody, probably humans or something similar, made the robots, but where did they all go? Did they die? Were the robots made to later house the souls of humans, and that's why they need genitals that they definitely aren't using at all? Or is it like a planet that robots were sent to for whatever reason? If so, what planet are they on? Where? If robots were made by other beings, did those beings give them the knowledge of how to make more robots, or did the robots figure it out for themselves? If they were given this information, why? So what, any jackass with a toolkit can create life? What? So back to how the robots look differently from one another. Why? If the robots didn't evolve to have unique traits through genealogy, which we can't prove exists because we don't know the process of how one or more parents get a baby, and if the robots can be mass-produced, then why don't they all look the same, or at least mostly similar? The Chrome guy acts all high and mighty, but if that's an upgrade, then why doesn't that mean that an entire generation of Chrome babies are currently being made? If they function as machines rather than living creatures, there should be distinguishable generations, the same as radios, cars, and phones. These are robots who can actively and consciously customize themselves. This lady makes evil robots and they all look evil. Why not just make evil brains, kidnap some fools off the street, then stick your evil brains in the bodies? Why skirts? It's not like they're covering anything.
I'm singing in the oil. I'm singing in the oil.
This song is in reference to Singing in the Rain. Does that movie exist in this universe? Does it rain oil, or was that movie left over from the humans? Did the robots learn compulsory gender and sexuality from movies? Seriously, they make fun of this woman for being ugly, but so far in the movie, no two robots have looked alike, except for some of the Chrome guys. With so much diversity in design, why is she pointed out as being ugly? How can they even be individuals? Personality, how can this guy be crazy? How can there be stupid or unskilled robots? Do poor people buy babies with shitty brains? Like either poorly made or brains with not a lot of memory space? Wouldn't everybody be on the same page on terms of intelligence, especially if brains or brain parts are mass-produced somewhere as part of a baby kit? Is it possible to just keep adding brain parts to yourself until you're the most intelligent robot ever?
Or has this compulsory idea about individuality been so ingrained into their robot brains that they can't help but make themselves either smart or dumb, tall or short, different colors, different sizes, anything to show that they are an individual, something with the right to live and think and be, something that breathes, something that dies, something with the God-given or no God-given right to feel and understand themselves?
Now you might be wondering, why does any of this matter?